The story begins with an ugly girl named Hina witnessing her own mother being swallowed into a dark pit by mysterious hands right before her eyes. Her mom was dragged into the underworld because the number on her hand hit 0. But before she got sucked in, she gave Hina a ball with the number 10,000 on it and told her to find someone known as the legendary Red Baron. A few years later, we find Hina all grown up, living in a city called Alcia. In this world, everyone is born with a number on their body. The numbers represent all sorts of things, like how many times someone has cooked a great meal, won a fight, done good deeds, or even how many times they've been rejected. Yeah, this ugly dude have been rejected 999 times. On this lovely day, Hina and her friends are chatting about the legendary Red Baron because her mother insisted she find this person no matter what. One of her friends mentions that the name sounds familiar, since the legendary Red Baron was part of some epic army 1,000 years ago. While they're having a good time, suddenly a creepy, disgusting guy with 999 number appears, freaking everyone out. Naturally, they all bolt, except for Hina, who's left behind with the masked weirdo. This guy introduces himself as Lichtbach, and then he notices Hina's number on her thigh. What does he do? He asks for money while, get this, caressing her leg. Seriously, dude? Read the room. Hina kicks him and walks off. But, of course, Lich keeps following her, babbling on about how she's the most beautiful woman in the world. Pretty sure that Linny hasn't worked in centuries. Thankfully, Nana shows up and boots him away. Afterward, Nana invites Hina to her restaurant to try some food as an apology for her friend's creepy behavior. While eating, Nana casually asks Hina where she's from. Hina explains that she used to live on a mountain with her mother, until one day her mom was dragged into the abyss, the underworld, and honestly, Hina still doesn't get why. Trying to be helpful, Nana explains that Hina's mom was probably pulled into the abyss after her number hit 0. In this world, everything's controlled by the numbers on their bodies. Nana then said that her number, 77, shows the size of her melons. Oh, I mean, it shows how many people have complimented her cooking. Curious, Nana asks what Hina's number means. Hina reveals her number is 441, representing how far she's walked. Naturally, Nana is floored by this because it means Hina has walked roughly 40,000 kilometers. Just then, that creepy dude from earlier suddenly pops up under the table, trying to sneak a peek at Hina's underwear. He is so ugly and a perv. Nana then drops some knowledge. In this world, people have to obey anyone with a higher number, or they risk getting into serious trouble. Nana asks why Hina has walked so far, and Hina explains that her mother told her to find the legendary Red Baron. Nana laughs, saying that anyone from that ancient past is long gone, but Hina insists that the last Red Baron is alive and right here in this city. That's why she came here. Suddenly, a group of military soldiers shows up, and one of them steps forward, claiming to be the person Hina's been searching for all along. Introducing himself as Sergeant Devi, he flashes a glowing white star next to his number, symbolizing that he's the legendary Red Baron. Hina is moved to tears, believing she's finally found him. Meanwhile, Nana's giving the world's biggest side-eye, warning Hina that this guy seems super shady. But before she can do much more, the soldiers grab Hina and whisk her away. Sergeant Devi smugly tells Nana to stay out of military business unless she wants to get locked up.
For your help,
When Hina arrived at the office, Sergeant Devi started acting all creepy, flirting with her in the grossest way possible. Hina, completely confused, asked why the legendary Red Baron was behaving like such a sleazeball. She then showed him the orb her mother had given her, which left them all in shock. Devi demanded that Hina hand it over, but when she refused, he immediately threatened her and attacked. Remembering Nana's advice about the rules of this world, Hina told Devi to back off because she had a higher number than him. Of course, instead of doing the smart thing, Devi challenged Hina to a one-on-one fight, betting his star on it. Hina, clearly having no idea what's going on, accepted the challenge like a total idiot. Suddenly, black hands came up from the ground, scaring Hina senseless. Without hesitation, Devi threw Hina out of the room, telling her to surrender if she wanted to live. As Hina surrendered, the black hands appeared again, this time to take her number and give it to Devi, boosting his count from 320 to 760, while poor Hina was left with just one. But Devi wasn't done yet. He threatened her to give up the orb or risk another star bet, which would definitely leave her dead because if Hina lost, her number would hit 0. Hina, still bewildered, asked why the legendary Red Baron had turned into such a trashy character. That's when Devi confessed that the star on his face was just a cheap knockoff, and the real Red Baron had long since bitten the dust. When Hina was about to give up, surrounded by their evil laughter, that ugly, disgusting masked guy showed up and threatened to challenge Devi to a star duel unless he let Hina go. Devi, clearly unimpressed, asked Lich how many points he was willing to bet. Lich proudly revealed his number, which was a whopping -999. Yeah, you read that right, -999. Devi scoffed, wondering why he should even bother with someone so deep in the negative that there's literally nothing to gain from it. Meanwhile, Devi's goons were scratching their heads, trying to figure out how on earth Lich was still walking around with such a ridiculous number and hadn't been dragged into the abyss yet. Thinking Lich was just some weird masked loser, Devi finally accepted the challenge and attacked with reckless abandon. While Devi was busy with his brutal assault, his underlings began whispering among themselves, realizing that Lich might actually be the real deal, the actual legendary Red Baron, because there's no way someone with a negative number should still be here. Right on cue, Lich revealed his real number, 5,700, along with a shiny star next to it. Yeah, not exactly a sticker from a cereal box. The goons, of course, panicked and attacked all at once. Lich, in true over-the-top fashion, told Hina to close her eyes and then used his superpowers to dodge everything like he was in the Matrix. Meanwhile, Devi was sweating bullets, realizing he was up against the real Red Baron. Lich demanded Devi return the number he stole from Hina, but Devi, still being a total tryhard, tried to put up a fight with whatever he had left. That's when Lich decided to get serious. He leaped into the sky like some superhero and then dive-bombed straight at Devi, knocking him out cold. Lich, now standing tall, asked Devi if he still wanted to fight, but Devi, humbled and probably wishing for a nap, begged him to stop. Hina's number was finally restored. As Hina cried, overjoyed that she finally found the person she had been searching for, Lich suddenly switched up his personality and grabbed the orb from her hands. He's saying he'd use it to buy himself a Lamborghini, and that he never wanted to see this ugly girl again. What a charmer, right? Before making his dramatic exit, Lich tossed Hina a ridiculous-looking frog doll. Cue more tears from Hina, who now wondered why on earth her mom would send her to find someone who treated her like this. Lich, being his usual evasive self, mentioned that there were plenty of legendary Red Barons out there and that he wasn't the one she was looking for anyway. As the sun began to set, Hina trudged back to the city, crying the whole way. She told Nana that the last thing her mother had left her had been taken away, leaving her completely lost. But when Nana spotted the frog doll, something clicked. She explained that Lich's strange behavior was actually his way of protecting Hina. After all, if a clueless ugly girl like her was running around with something as dangerous as a ballot, the military would snatch her up in no time. Meanwhile, Lich was gearing up to leave town when Hina caught up to him, begging him to stay. She poured her heart out, telling him she'd been searching for him her entire life. After all the hardships she'd faced in this cruel world, being with him and Nana was the first time she'd felt warmth again. But Hina couldn't help herself and called Lich a liar for breaking his promises and claimed she hated him. With that, Lich's number dropped again, now sitting at a depressing -1,000. Yeeks. As the sun fully dipped below the horizon, a soldier approached Hina, reassuring her that he wasn't interested in her ballot. He promised to keep her secret safe. After watching the earlier fight, he had come here to thank her. Thanks to Hina, he had finally discovered the real legendary Red Baron. The next day, a girl named Line, who had seen news of Licht's recent appearance, decided to patrol the village while helping others in need. You know, classic do-gooder style. That's how her number could go up, after all. However, her partner, Peli, pointed out that her number would only increase if she helped people in serious need and suggested maybe she should focus on something more productive, like catching actual criminals instead of playing village savior. As they continued their patrol, thinking it was going to be tough to find any real criminals, they stumbled upon an ugly dude in a pudding costume wearing a goofy mask. Naturally, Line tried to yank the mask off, but Pudding Man quickly explained that this mask was not like Licht's, it was to hide his ugly face. Apparently, his face had been rejected by 1,000 women. Ouch, right? Feeling guilty, Line apologized, and Pudding Man seized the opportunity, asking if she could maybe go on one date with him before he faded from this cruel world. Pele thought, hey, this might be a good emergency case, and figured helping him might just boost her number. With Pele's encouragement, she held his hand, and sure enough, her number ticked up. From there, they spent the day together, doing everything from relaxing to, well, let's just say following through on Pele's mischievous plan to improve the mood. Pudding Man was so grateful that he even thanked Pele for allowing him to, experience 2 large melons. You know what he's talking about. But just as things got weirdly comfortable, the bridge they were on collapsed. Thankfully, Lich swooped in just in time to save Line. Afterward, Line figured that was enough and tried to move on, but Pudding Man threw a full-blown tantrum. Pele, always ready with the worst ideas, suggested Line give him a perfect memory by letting him sleep on her lap and sneak a peek at her underwear. And yep, Pudding Man's excitement was through the roof. Dude's anaconda was ready to party. Yikes. Just as Line's number increased again due to the ridiculousness of it all, Pele finally revealed that Pudding Man was actually the criminal they had been searching for all along, showing her the wanted poster. When Line and Pele tried to catch him, Licht quickly grabbed Line's sword and effortlessly dodged all her attacks. In a classic Licht move, he got overly excited when Line tried to kick him, not because he was dodging attacks like a ninja, but because he got a glimpse of her underwear multiple times. He stared at Line intensely, to which she responded by saying she couldn't possibly live with a criminal, despite secretly wishing for 3 kids and a dreamy life together. Hearing that, Licht handed Pele some pudding as a thank you for her help and made a quick escape. Meanwhile, over at Nana's place, poor Hina was stuck serving as a waitress in Nana's shop when a lieutenant showed up asking about Licht's whereabouts. Nana, playing it cool, said she didn't know a thing about Licht. But Lieutenant Jail wasn't buying it and pressured Nana to spill the beans. Eventually, Nana pointed him eastward, but Jail, being the genius he is, decided to lead his troops west, wrecking Nana's little shop in the process. Smooth move, Jail! Back to Line, who was busy handing out flyers for a children's amusement park that was going to be built. She told Pele she was desperate to catch Licht so she could get promoted to lieutenant and finally ditch the miniskirt uniform that constantly exposed her underwear to prying eyes. Little did she know, Licht was right beside her, helping distribute the flyers. Once she realized it, a wild chase ensued. Line begged Licht to let her catch him so she could finally stop wearing that miniskirt. The townsfolk, however, mistook the chase for some bizarre romantic pursuit, thinking Line was chasing her runaway lover, which only added to the chaos. Taking advantage of the confusion, Licht managed to escape to a nearby hill. Back in town, Hina pleaded with Nana to help her find Licht before the military got to him. Meanwhile, Licht sensed something was off about this peaceful town. Even though rumors about a criminal on the loose were spreading, everyone seemed to be living in harmony. In fact, they were all so close to Line that a mother even asked her to name her newborn baby. It seemed like Line was the town's secret to peace, until she accidentally stepped on a little girl's doll, breaking it. Realizing Line was the source of all this calm, Licht decided to help fix the doll before making his escape once again. During another wild chase, Licht suddenly felt an attack coming, and despite his better judgment, he instinctively protected Line. And wouldn't you know it, a metal cage suddenly appeared, trapping Licht. Pele immediately saluted Lieutenant Jail, while Line was more concerned about Licht's safety. Jail, knowing Licht's true identity, ordered him to stop pretending to be someone else before launching another attack. Licht then shed all his disguises and dodged every attack while protecting Line. But these NPC-level soldiers were useless, so Jail decided to take matters into his own hands. Licht, confident as ever, thought he'd win easily since his number was higher than the commander's measly 900. But during the fight, Jael actually managed to overwhelm Lich. Jael didn't want the townspeople to see the battle, so he sealed off the area with metal walls. He then revealed his true number, 12,500. Jael used his power to create barriers and launched another deadly strike. Luckily, Lich barely managed to avoid it, increasing his speed in the process, but it was still nothing compared to Jael's skills. Jael even deflected Lich's sword effortlessly, so they resorted to hand-to-hand combat since Lich's sword was out of reach. Jael easily tossed Lich around with his technique, eventually retrieving Lich's sword. But, in a surprising move, Jael handed it back, saying that Lich's movements had become too slow. Feeling underestimated, Lich decided to unleash his full power, attacking from the sky, only to get slammed by Jael's metal attack again. While being restrained by Jael's power, Lich begged for his freedom, which of course Jael wasn't going to grant because he knew Lich was hiding something. After the fight, Jael realized that Lich was using combat techniques only taught to the highest-ranking soldiers. When Jael tried to force Lich to spill all the information he knew by whipping him with a metal lash, Line suddenly showed up to stop it. She insisted that Lich wasn't a bad guy since he had been helping her all this time, even though he's an ugly perv. But Jael, ever the buzzkill, told her he'd heard about her efforts to build a park for the kids and thought it was a waste of time. Just because the town was peaceful didn't mean she could ignore her duties, so Jael bluntly called Line useless. Ouch. Hearing this, Line apologized, but Lich, ever the contrarian, told her not to. He then casually mentioned that he hadn't been fighting seriously because he didn't want to destroy the town. Realizing that Lich had been holding back his true power, Jael decided to get serious, and their fight ended up wrecking the surrounding area. In the middle of the chaos, Lich demanded that Jael apologize to Line because she was the reason the town was so peaceful. Just then, Line fell into a ravine, and while Jael tried to reach her, Lich, with a speed boost that would make the Flash jealous, got to her first and threw her back up to Jael. Jael couldn't help but wonder just how strong Lich really was. Seeing the picture of the children's park that Line had been working on, Jael finally understood what Lich was saying. In a rare moment of kindness, he used his power to help build the park. However, since the metal from his power would only last as long as he was nearby, Jael gave Line 3 days to finish the construction before he'd go after Lich again. And just when you thought he was done, a little girl whose toy he'd broken earlier showed up, forcing Jael to fix it. Thanks for watching. If you're enjoying the video, don't forget to subscribe, leave a comment, and like to support this channel. Love you guys.